Marshmallow, as Sage was saying, Althea officinalis, is native to Europe. It is a pretty hardy herb. So I grew these from seeds. If you're gonna grow from seeds, then you wanna scarify the seeds a little bit, which means just to gently rub them on a little bit of sandpaper, and it kind of opens up that outer membrane on the seed to help increase germination. They do well with starting the seeds in the cold early spring, so that is one way you can grow them. You can also grow them by root, like taking little root cuttings or cuttings of the plant to grow them that way too. Marshmallow really, Sage has been talking about the moist property. This plant does really well in moist environments. So we were in, this whole area was flooded this winter and it was sitting in standing water for months, and it did really well. So it can handle swampy, boggy environments, but it also does well in full sun like this. So you don't have to have a super boggy area. It just likes to be moist. As everything about this plant is that moisture. And if you've ever, this plant is in the mallow family, so it has flowers look like little tiny hollyhocks. It's beautiful soft leaves. It's a really sensory plant in that way. It's really just lovely to touch and you can feel it. So the leaves can also be harvested when they're in flower, and the flowers too. You can just make a cold infusion and you'll get a nice like mucilaginous kind of tea like that. So you can use them fresh like that. I've never dried them, but you can also dry the leaves. But the root is the main part that we would harvest. And these plants are 3 years old. So you would want to give the plant about 2 to 3 years to develop a nice root before you harvested them. So you'd wait till the plant dies all the way back in the fall, and then you could dig up the root, or in early spring before the plant starts sprouting again. And you would want to cut up the roots, and if you're going to preserve them, you'd want to dry them. So you'd probably want to put them in a dehydrator so they actually get dried out, because this plant is so mucilaginous and so moist, it's gonna need help, warm conditions to dry out. And then you can also you make an infusion of the fresh roots if you wanted, but to preserve it, if you're gonna dry it and have some dried roots cut up for later on, you can just make a cold infusion. So that means, an infusion, usually it'd be pouring hot water over herbs to make a tea. Well, this plant does really well just with cold water. So you can put some of the root in some cold water and let it sit overnight, or for, a handful of hours, and you'll notice that it starts getting this slimy quality. Because of that slimy quality, you actually don't want to tincture marshmallow. We made the mistake of trying that out once, and it was pretty hilarious. It made this like goopy, slimy tincture that almost kind of coagulated, and it was kind of a mess. It was something, I think Sage's teachers had told him, like, yeah, you don't tincture marshmallow. And then he was like, well, I'm gonna try it anyway. And then we find out why. So it doesn't do well. The medicine really comes out in water, which is, again, really what this plant is all about, that hydration. And that's pretty much it.